Good evening, everybody. Welcome to the Select Board, Monday, March 11th, 2024, Wacoit Meeting Room, Mashpee Town Hall, 16 Great Neck Road North, Mashpee, Mass. 02649, broadcast live on the local cable channel 8, stream live on the Town of Mashpee website. I'd like to convene the meeting at 6:30. Convene the meeting in open session, please. Start with the Pledge of Allegiance.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
May I also have a pledge of, moment of silence, please. Thank you. We have minutes. First up, minutes, discussion and approval of the following minutes: Monday, February 12th, 2024, regular session, and Tuesday, February 20th, 2024, regular session. So there's a motion to
Second.
approve for both minutes, correct?
For both.
Okay.
Second.
And a second. So I have a motion and a second. Any discussion? Not hearing any. Start off, Michaela.
Yes.
Tom?
Yes.
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 And I am a yes. So appointments and hearings, 6:35, a couple minutes early, but alcoholic beverage license, are they here? Okay,
You want to start reading?
if you don't mind, Carol? Thank you, I just want to make sure
Town
they
of
were there.
Mashpee Select Board Public Hearing Notice pursuant to the Mass General Law, Chapter 138, subsection 16A, the Select Board, acting as the local licensing authority for the Town of Mashpee, will conduct a public hearing on the application of Abdul Hafiz Mian, manager, for a new seasonal all-alcoholic beverage package store license. The premise is described as the first floor of a one-story wood frame building containing approximately 2,168 square feet, with 2 entrances and exits on the west side of the building. Sales area of approximately 2,168 square feet, housing a delicatessen, counters, deli, units, coffee bar, grocery shelves, and 2 bathrooms in rear. Unfinished basement having approximately 2,168 square feet. Said hearing will be held on Monday, March 11th, 2024, at 6:35 in the Wacoit Meeting Room at Mashpee Town Hall, 16 Great Neck Road North, Mashpee, Mass. Good evening.
Good evening.
How are you?
Mr. Chairman, my name is Paul Tardif. I'm an attorney in Yarmouthport, and I represent Mr. Meehan, who's here with his son. We just heard a very particular description of that store. It's just a store right down the street over here. Yeah, I could probably hit it with a stone if you tried. And you may remember that we were here about a year ago, and actually on April 24th of last year, we came for an annual beer and wine license. That was all that was available. We applied for that. It was granted. It's been run very well. There's no problems. We're back here for one of those special licenses. It's a seasonal all-alcohol license that can be overlaid on top of the other licenses. So this is one of the few times when you can have more than one license at a specific establishment. And I think the town has issued these in the past. My understanding from a memo that I found as part of the package was that there are several that you have here in Mashpee to give, and so we're very fortunate to be at least requesting that. Nothing is going to change at the location, obviously. It is what it is. It's worked very well. I don't intend to change it in any way. Mr. Meehan obviously meets all the qualifications for that manager. He's had a year of trial experience here, and he's worked very well. So, you know, the store is equipped with cameras. He does have that ID check system already in place, so that's going to continue to be used. And, you know, some of his clients have asked for this, and so that's why he's coming back for you, to you at this point. So we would ask the board to approve the application. If you have any questions, we're here. And also, just a reminder that because I believe there is a church that is within 500 feet of this building, the Baptist church, that this board, if you were inclined to issue the license or to approve the license, that there would have to be a written finding that the premises are not detrimental to the spiritual activities of the church, and it's in the statute. That's why I just bring it to your attention. So thank you very much.
Okay, thank you. Mr. Collins, do you have any questions as far as from the town's behalf?
No, but I have not spoken to anybody from the church.
Okay. I'm not aware of is how does that affect what we do here today? Do we not know?
I'm just simply saying I haven't spoken to anybody from the
Yeah, no,
church.
It was,
certified notices were sent to all the property owners.
Okay,
And from that list, you can't really tell that there's a church there unless you live here and know. So I would imagine that the landlord would have notified them. I just don't know.
it was a public notice.
so so if we were to approve it, it's not going to be a problem, right?
No.
Okay. Is there anyone,
Or-
did you want to say something more?
Could you just briefly explain how the new liquor license changes the existing, what changes from the new license and the existing license?
The existing license, which is beer and wine, year-round, stays in effect. Nothing changes on that. This overlays on top of that. It's a seasonal, all alcohol. And I believe that the season, and I'm not sure about this, but I believe the season would be from March till about the fall sometime. So it does encompass the summer season, summer months, and that's how it's worked in the past. And then what happens is when that license, that season is over, all the alcohol, the hard alcohol, not the beer and wine, but the alcohol is removed from site and out of the store, and then put back only when the license is renewed, if it's renewed.
Two separate.
Pretty safe.
Okay. Is there anyone from the public want to speak? No?
A motion to close the public hearing?
Second.
Any discussion? Not hearing? Michaela?
Yes.
Tom?
Yes.
Yes.
David?
Yes.
And I'm a yes.
A motion to approve the new seasonal all alcoholic beverage package store license.
Second.
All right, I have first and second. Any discussion? Okay, not hearing any. Michaela?
Yes.
Tom?
Yes.
Yes.
David?
Yes.
And I'm a yes.
Good luck.
Congratulations.
Thank you very much.
Good luck on
Appreciate
that,
the time.
gentlemen.
Discussion and certification of hiring process, confirmation of the Director of Information Technology, Kurt Curry.
Kurt Curry.
This is the replacement for the IT director. Did have advertising and posting, went through a process after a screening of candidates. The panel recommended this individual to me. I interviewed him, and he is all set to go, and he has successfully completed the remainder of the process, including a background check. And it's not just a certification. Because it's a department head, the board needs to confirm this appointment as well.
So you'd be looking for a motion to confirm,
Certify and...
certify and
Certify the process and to confirm the appointment.
A motion to certify the process and confirm the Director of Information Technology, Kurt Curry.
I'll second that motion.
all right, first and second. Any discussion?
Where's the individual coming from? Has he worked in the area, or how many years' experience?
Cape Air,
Cape Air?
I think he worked for the former state senator.
Okay. That's all I had.
Okay. I don't have any.
He's been in IT.
Any other discussion?
I didn't hear that, I'm sorry.
He's been in IT.
Thank you.
All right. I'll start it off with Kayla.
Yes.
Tom?
Yes.
Yes.
Carol? David?
Yes.
And I'm a yes. We have a new IT director. DPW Director Catherine Laurent, recommendations for award of the following contracts: HVAC upgrades at the Casey Coombs School, and Owner's Project Manager OPM Services for Mashpee School HVAC projects.
Good
Good evening,
evening.
Catherine.
These were two projects that were funded at last May town meeting, both having to do with improved ventilation and air conditioning in the three schools. The first one is the construction contract award for the Casey Coombs School. As you saw in the memo, we received two bids, and we are recommending that a contract be awarded to the lowest responsive bidder, who is Performance Plumbing and Heating, at a cost of $1,518,824. We've reached out to them just to let them know that hopefully they would be awarded a contract tonight. There is a tight schedule in terms of lead time for equipment. We're hoping that they'll be able to start work sometime in June and continue through the summer and into the fall if necessary for completion.
And this, you have it on, I'm assuming you have enough research on Performance Plumbing and Heating that they're going to do that. I mean, the bids are substantially different.
Right.
So, I love that.
Yeah. So this actually was closer to the estimate that was prepared by our engineering firm. So I think our engineering firm, their estimate was about 1.4 million, so this came in a little bit higher than that. But they are, as required, DCAM certified through the state and received a very favorable rating through that process.
Okay. So you did speak with them, their time frame, they're going to hopefully work into your...
Hit the ground running, so we can get started with the project as soon as the school is available.
That's great. I have no questions.
No,
A
huge
motion to
difference.
approve the project to be awarded Performance Plumbing and Heating, Inc. of Medway, Mass. in the amount of $1,518,824.
I'll second that. Sounds like a lot of money, but I'll second that.
Uh,
All right, I have a first and a second. Any other discussion?
When looking at the DCAM, I see that there was a 93% rating on completing projects. Were there any negative marks as to over budget or anything
No,
within the DCAM?
no, they did not have any negative
Negative
reviews.
marks.
No.
Okay, that's all I had.
All right, not hearing any. Let's vote. David?
Yes.
Carol?
Yes.
Tom?
Yes.
Michaela?
Yes.
And I am a yes. Owner's Project Manager?
Yes, so, and I have additional information, as mentioned in
And we're doing now.
Thank you.
Okay.
Thank you.
This is gonna
Oh,
supersede.
this one here.
So this is a recommendation for a contract award for an owner's project manager. We are required by state statute to have an owner's project manager for any project that exceeds a certain dollar value, which we are anticipating that both the project at the Quashnet School and the high school, middle high school will exceed that amount. So
Can you
this
use
is.
this for both?
So this is for both projects. They would be working with the town on selection of an engineer designer for the two schools, and then with us going forward with construction for both schools. As in the memo I just handed out, there is the negotiated fee, which is a not-to-exceed amount. So they did indicate that their billing will be based on actual hours worked. But this is a not-to-exceed amount of $285,000. I'm sorry, I don't think I said for the audience, the firm is Answer Advisory out of Boston. So their not-to-exceed fee would be $285,000. They did have two reimbursement expenses. One would be for an online bidding service of up to $8,000, and the other would be up to $20,000 for an independent estimating firm. As I noted in the memo, generally estimating is done by the engineer designer, but if the town wanted to have someone check the numbers, there is that money that would be available to have someone take a look at that.
Who gets the reimbursement?
It's
Town or the?
No, this would be a reimbursable expense for Answer Advisory.
Oh, okay, for
So
them,
so
okay.
they would have an estimator that
Like
they
a
work with.
subcontractor.
Correct.
Yeah, okay, I
Yeah.
got it.
The schedule that Answer Advisory has proposed at this point is to start work immediately upon contract award and have the project completed by December 31st of 2025. That is a very aggressive schedule, and I spoke with the superintendent earlier, and she's hopeful that that is a realistic schedule, and that is what this estimate is based on. Obviously, if the time does go beyond that, there may be additional costs for their time, as well as I noted that they did not carry a clerk of the works. If the town decides that during construction, we would like a clerk of the works on site, then there would be an additional cost for that. Right now, their contract covers being on site once a week during construction, as well as the engineer would generally be on site as well.
Okay. And to clarify, this is for Quashnet School and the middle high school.
Correct.
A motion to approve the project to be awarded to Answer Advisory of Boston, Mass.
Okay. Motion?
I'm going to second that motion, but I just have a question on it. Is there anything in here, I know that you're upgrading the systems themselves. Are they increasing any of the, what would you call it, the foam spray or anything of that nature to help reduce the consumption or the necessary work of the heating systems?
So-
I don't know if there's any way that we can help to reduce the cost.
Right. So we're not looking at, I guess, building envelope, if that's your question.
Just trying to think
This-
while we're doing the work, should be
Right.
increasing the insulation, the R value, and hope to, whether it be AC or heating, whether you
Mm-hmm. Right.
save money. That's-
So that's not specific to this
Okay.
project. As you may recall, the Quashnet School, we just went through a major building envelope where it was brought up to, all of the insulation was brought up to current code. That is something that during the investigation with the engineer, they may have some recommendations that we certainly can consider. But really, the scope is looking at the HVAC equipment only.
Right, right. I figured it would be a great time to double up on it and make it a more effective system.
Sure. No, and that is part of what we will look at. We want to improve the efficiencies of the system that they're. I should have pointed out with the Casey Coombs project that you just awarded the contract for, we have been working with Cape Light Compact and National Grid on rebates, and we are expecting to, based on the more efficient equipment that we will be installing, we will be getting a rebate for that. And we would anticipate doing the same for these two schools, or working with Green Communities to apply for a grant to offset costs.
Well, I appreciate what you do. You do a great job of what you do, and
Thank you.
I put my faith in you as it is, but I just had that question, so.
course.
Thank you.
Any other questions?
I just have a question with regard to process. So there's no bid that came in as far as you received 5 proposals, 3 people or 3 companies were interviewed, and this answer was selected out of these 3. So I'm sure there was a criterion that they judged them by, but bidding and cost wasn't included until after they were selected, and could you explain?
Correct. That's, the process we went through was a qualification-based rather than a price-based. So in that process, you select your, I guess, recommended firm before you then sit down. If you're, during negotiations, if you're unable to agree to a fee, then you can go to your second selected firm or rated firm.
Okay. So, and based on your expertise, this, the contract makes sense?
It does. It's generally, you look at a percentage of what you estimate the total construction costs to be, and not having a design yet, it's hard to do that, but this is certainly within, I think, the percentage that we would expect.
Thank you.
Question?
Couple questions. First question is, where the clerk of the works is listed as an alternate, what is the rate that the, if it's determined that the clerk of works is needed on the project, what's the rate that's going to be charged as a cost plus?
I don't have it in front of me. I believe it was $140 an hour, but the town would have to determine whether or not we needed a clerk of the work, and then how many hours you would want that person there. The final contract that is executed will have the hourly rates listed for all of the project team.
So that would be all spelled out with the actual contract?
Correct, yes.
Little nervous where it's open-ended.
Yeah,
at the
right.
moment. The other one is a part of this contract is the contract, I see they're going to be reimbursed for the $20,000, so they're going to do a takeoff on the project to determine whether or not the bids are reasonable bids?
So it actually is looking at the construction estimate. So during the design process, the engineering design firm will prepare a construction estimate at two stages. During the conceptual design, they'll prepare an estimate, and then at as we approach the 100% design plans, they'll prepare an estimate. So we have some expectation on what the bids would be coming in at. If the town felt that it warranted having a second pair of eyes, kind of look at those numbers, that's what that 20,000, up to 20,000 would cover, is bringing in an independent estimating firm to review the numbers that were put together by the engineering firm.
And do you look at local companies' bids? Is that factored in when you're looking at evaluating bids for selection? Do you look at whether they're local or not? And I only ask because the tribes had a negative experience with hiring somebody outside of the local area, and they weren't familiar with the cost of local cost. And
Right.
so I just want to ensure we're thinking
course.
proactively on that.
Yeah, so a lot of it is dictated by state statute. So we cannot give preference to local companies. Certainly, if they meet the qualifications, they will have to be DCAM certified, anyone bidding on the project. So they can obviously take that into consideration in their bid price, just because they are local. and, are maybe saving on mobilization costs. But that's not something that we can use as a criteria for the construction bids. When we go out to bid, as discussed a few minutes ago, that is strictly lowest qualified bidder. So as long as they meet the minimum qualifications, we go with the lowest bid,
Lowest
qualified bidder.
qualified reasonable, right?
The town can always reject all of the bids, but it's the lowest qualified bidder.
I wouldn't want to see somebody come in and lowball just to get the contract.
Of course, right.
All right.
The town always has the option of rejecting the bids if there's question or concern.
I heard enough.
The first and the second.
Yep. Any other discussion? No? Michaela?
Yes.
Tom?
Yes.
Yes.
Carol? David?
Yes.
And I'm a yes.
Thank you.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you.
As always, thank you. Good job.
Discussion and approval of the following special events. Earth Day, Atlantic White Cedar Tree Planting, Sunday, April 21st, 2024, 1 to 3 p.m., Santuit Pond Preserve. Daniel Kent, Assistant Conservation Agent.
How's it going? My name is
How are
Dan
ya?
Kent. I'm the Assistant Conservation Agent for the town of Mashpee. Thanks for having me tonight. Appreciate the time, especially this evening. So today I'm coming before you because I want to do a project for Earth Day at the Santuit Preserve Land Bank. It is a land bank, so therefore the Select Board has the direction over it when it comes to work being done there that's outside of the trail scope. So I'm here tonight asking permission to have an Earth Day event where we plant 100 trees, Atlantic white cedars, within an active cranberry, well, not an active cranberry bog, but an abandoned cranberry bog that is an active wetland. So, yeah, that's the plan. I'm partnering with a local nonprofit group. They're offering to give money for some of the purchase of the trees as well. So they'll be helping out with the event as well. So it'll be a kind of nice partnership that's going on. And any approval tonight, this would still have to go before the Conservation Commission. This is an active wetland, so approval for this would allow the project to be conducted on site, and then approval from the Conservation Commission would allow the project to be conducted within a wetland, which is what this is.
Okay,
Motion to approve the Earth Day Atlantic White Cedar Tree Planting to be held Sunday, April 21st, 2024, from 1 to 3 Santuit Pond Preserve.
Second.
okay, I have first and second. On a discussion, I just want to add, sounds like a cool, maybe Eagle project. Maybe there's an Eagle Scout that may want to get involved in the project, but just throwing that out there for
We have,
future discussion.
I've been in contact with the troop directly about other projects for the Eagle Scouts.
Perfect.
So they're actually currently working on other ones.
Awesome.
Telepathic. I
That's
knew
it.
Right? Yeah. So, just a simple question. The wetlands, is that a natural wetland or is it an abandoned cranberry bog?
No, this is an abandoned cranberry bog.
It is an
Yes,
abandoned,
so on one of your sheets, you can see the map that has the buffer zone on it, and the buffer zone for the riverfront's 200. I just put that on there so you can see the correlation. Oh,
We don't have it.
I'm sorry. But there is a map. The Mashpee River has a 200-foot buffer zone for protection. Any cranberry bog that's abandoned is classified as an active wetland by the DEP. So therefore, any work that's done inside an abandoned bog, it is a wetland.
Right.
So-
And one of the things that bothers me, I see it on the Mashpee River. It's an abandoned wetland, basically, and a lot of the areas that abut it off of it. But it seems to me at some point on the wetland itself, the man-made wetland, the bog itself, if it's almost get to the point where nobody's maintaining them in a lot of the areas.
Yes.
And it's overflowing with water. No one wants to clean it out, and it jeopardizes the houses that are in the surrounding areas. So it's one of those things that I've been thinking about lately, because I see it quite frequently in my neighborhoods. And I didn't know where they stood on that, on just abandoned bogs being sealed up, closed up, and make it what it was, just
There is, currently, there is a lot of funding from NOAA So NOAA just started one of their 3-year cycles for renovations of wetland areas that are coastal, and a lot of the bogs in Mashpee qualify for that. We are actually applying for 2 of those applications right now. 3 technically, but one of them is a mixed project. So we are applying within Mashpee to renovate 2 bogs in particular, and a 3rd application is for the Mashpee River for a feasibility study to see, because there is numerous bogs on the Mashpee River that are abandoned, that are in need of attention because of, as you said, invasives growing. They're just not getting the attention they need, and they're not going to a natural state like they should
Well,
be.
and tell me if I'm wrong, I don't want to eat your clock time, but I think at one time, I was when I was on the Assembly of Delegates, I was called by one of the directors of the group that they said they weren't going to maintain, the county government was not going to maintain any longer the wetland areas, where before they were always coming in on a yearly basis and cleaning debris and fallen trees and making sure that the water had somewhere to go. That's been abandoned. They told me that, as far as they're concerned, close it up, you know, and
On the Mashpee River, it's a little complicated
the
because there's.
river's a little further down. I'm more on the opposite side of the walkways, you know,
Yeah.
more.
Yeah, they're worried about native vegetation on the sides of the banks, and unfortunately, cranberry bogs do classify as that because there is some natives mixed in. And that shading of the areas and that thick native vegetation does aid to fish life.
Yep.
So that could have been a rationale for it. I can't speak for that.
Right.
I know for now, there is a lot of funding that we are looking at to directly go after these abandoned bogs that can be turned into wetlands, an active peat area, or just turned into something else. And that's what we're actively doing, yeah.
That's good to
So,
know.
Yeah.
Oh, good to go. Great, thank you. By the way, it's a yes from me as well.
Oh, I got it.
I guess I was wondering, piggybacking some of Tom's concerns, is there a way to create like an innovative trial project as a study? Would you be able to go after funding that incorporated some kind of innovative ideas? Like, I've always thought that, knowing the history of some of the bogs in the area, they were originally Atlantic white cedar swamps and maple swamps, peat bog swamps. And so because the hydrology supports the cranberry industry, that's why they were converted. Now, how do you get it back to kind of a more original kind of environment? I don't know if there's dredging activities that could be done in the area that where there weren't contaminants found that could be reintroduced to that area to try and create more of a peat bog ecology. And if there was a way to design a project around that, if that would open up opportunities for additional funding for your initiative.
I would hope so. I can, on that, I can speak to Childs River. They did the renovation there of the old cranberry bog. And they actually ended up having to really just separate apart one section of that renovation because of the amount of herbicide and everything in it. And from my understanding, the first year of the renovation, you could definitely notice that visually. Now it is an ecosystem that is kind of cut off from itself at the Childs River bog restoration, and it has its own duck population, frogs, all of that have come back already. So it is nice to see, and I would love to see more natural things going in for renovations of that. I can speak on behalf, not on behalf, but I can speak for the state and the proposed the Wetlands Protection Act's being revised. And one of the proposals is to add a section of scientific research technology, where the Conservation Commission could approve scientific research to be done in an active wetland, as long as that data essentially is shared. Now, this is all draft provisions right now, but also incorporating those revisions is to have restoration projects or even on-site projects of private properties done that are more holistic and nature-based. So I know they're looking at that as well, so that would feed in directly to that.
Love to see more of that.
Yeah.
In the results, the data that comes out of that.
Yeah, and that seems to be one of the biggest things from my understanding of the revisions that are going in place right now for the proposal, is that would be the biggest thing, is sharing it with the town. It's not one of those things where you just come in, you collect the data, and then you just kind of take off. You collect the data, you give the data to the town as well, so they can look at it as well. I always say more eyes on data, the better, because you never know what ideas are in other people's minds out there. So it's a great thing to have.
Good.
I know the peat bogs are the greatest filtration you can have
Yes.
for runoff, and so that's where I'd like to see it more of a natural environment, to put it back to what it once was, to help with the filtrations in a natural way.
Absolutely agree. Yep.
That's all I had.
I was just going to say, then planting the 100 Atlantic white cedars should be a beginning to that.
This is a start.
Yeah.
This is a start. This will be a
It's an
start
exciting
to.
project.
So we have been utilizing an intern for the past couple months, over the last summer as well. And part of that internship is I'm adding to the job descriptions for them to start collecting seeds. We have native Atlantic white cedar swamps here in Mashpee that have actually been used for seed collection by other colleges and such throughout the country because it is such a strong bank and such a strong population of the cedar. So I think that collecting those seeds to propagate seedlings so that in 2 to 3 years you could put seedlings out, that would alleviate the cost of having to do something of this nature, as well as help people in town understand the importance of it and that it can be done right within town. You don't need to order out. You can do everything right here. It's all natural and native. So that's a big push.
You bring up
Exciting project.
good points in that. You said all natural, because that's one of my problems, is that a lot of these bogs are not all natural. They never were. They were just excavated, that then somebody put in a place to grow, what was it, vegetables or
Yeah, all the cranberries.
cranberry
Yeah.
bogs. That's where they were,
lot of
cranberry
sand.
bogs. And they
A
were
lot of sand.
man-made, and now it's just, nobody's taking care of them.
Mm-hmm.
And they're backing up, the trees are falling into it, and the water levels are going differently.
Yeah,
But-
yeah, so
but
I want to get
agree
some
with you.
natives in there so they can
Yep.
take back control. And the best thing with Atlantic white cedars is that they are water loving and they do not mind acidic soil. So in the sandy soil, they are going to do great. In the area where we're going to be planting, there is some standing water. So we're going to plant within 15 feet of that standing water. With these trees, they will literally seek out water their first 6 months once they start coming to life in the spring. Literally, they will just go right for the water. So their roots are going to go deep, and then over time, Atlantic cedars are known to actually change the landscape of where they grow. It's kind of a cool scenery. If you ever have a chance to go to where is it? The Pine Barrens here in town and see the Atlantic cedar swamp, I highly encourage it. It's a great thing to see, and the trees can thrive and survive in quite conditions.
Right.
I would love to see, final thought, love to see the tribe incorporated if you are looking to do a seed collection.
Yes.
You know, looking and identifying the areas where the cedars are healthiest and grow straight and are healthy in that way, I think is something that should be considered. Sometimes they can grow kind of gnarly. And for traditional cultural uses, we use the cedar a lot and have been strongly advocating for, you know, Atlantic white cedars to be incorporated into a lot of these wetland restoration projects. But having said that, being mindful of trying to generate the strongest, healthiest, straightest kind of poles will help us from a cultural perspective.
Yep, it all comes down to seed genetics and variety.
Yes.
And I know our stock here in town is extremely strong. I know one of the colleges locally in the state, they did a test on them, and our seed stock came out to one of the lowest numbers when you were collecting them physically, but for the genetic strains, it came out to one of the strongest. So that's a very big thing.
Learned a lot in this presentation.
If it's too much, tell me to stop, that's all.
Love the swamps. Love them.
Exciting project.
Any more discussion?
Done.
Start off, David.
Yes.
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 Taylor? And I'm a yes. I just want to say thank you to you and Drew. I think Conservation, we're in good hands at here at Mashpee with both of you in that department.
Thank you very much,
So
greatly
thank you
appreciate
for
it.
all you do.
Thank you, everyone.
Thank you.
All right. Interviews and discussion of possible appointments of the following: Human Services Committee, Karen Yetra, member at large, and term expires June 30th, 2024. Okay, please.
But that's good that you found,
That's it.
that's a good thing.
Stuck with it. Karen, if you don't mind, just kind of quick introduction of, and again, if you will, and why you have interest in joining the committee.
Sure. I'm a recent full-time resident of Mashpee since 2019, part-time since 2016, and during that time have been raising my hands to volunteer for different things to help contribute to the community. I was here in January for the Community Services, or rather, Community Preservation Committee. Didn't work out. But Lynn Barbie tapped me on the shoulder and said we could use some help with Human Services. So I met with them a few weeks ago in February, and was thrilled to learn what they do and what they contribute to our community, and I'd love to be a part of it.
Well,
That's great.
Thank you for your new interest. I have no questions. I actually enjoyed interviewing you last time, so does anybody have any
No,
questions?
I would just like to thank you for coming back. We enjoyed interviewing you last time, and clearly, everybody on the Human Services Committee did as well, looking at their comments. So,
Yeah.
thank you.
Motion to accept and approve the recommendations of the Human Services
Services.
Committee to appoint Karen Yetra as a member at large for the term expiring June 30th, 2024.
Second.
All right, first and second, any other discussion?
Yes,
Michaela, Tom,
Yes.
Carol,
Yes.
David?
Yes.
And I'm absolutely yes.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Congratulations.
Look
Thank
forward
you.
to seeing you.
Thank you, Karen.
Good luck.
And thank you, Lynn Barbie.
There you go. You didn't let her get away.
That's right.
Barnstable County Human Rights Advisory Commission, Marie Younger. I see you hiding over there.
Can I stand here? Do I need-
Yeah, absolutely.
Hi.
That mic's on, right, Wayne?
Yes.
Oh, you did it.
Hi.
How are you? Good
I'm
to see
good,
you.
thank you. Good to see everybody.
to see you.
Thanks for having me. What should I do? Introduce myself?
Yeah, if you don't mind, yeah.
Okay. Hi, again, I'm Marie Younger Blackburn, and I've been living here on Cape Cod for well over 30 years, raised my kids here in Mashpee and in Falmouth. And I was the former chair of both the Mashpee Housing Authority and the Mashpee Human Service Committee when it became a permanent office in Mashpee. So I'm here today at the urging of some members in the community who called me to serve on the human rights as a liaison for the town of Mashpee.
So,
They meet, what, 4 times a year?
They meet, no, much more than 4
More than
times a year,
that?
about 10 times a
Oh,
year.
okay.
I'll be asked to meet with the commission. I'm not a voting member. We are liaisons, so we represent the town of
Right.
Mashpee. And I think we do some education, some talks with, maybe town government, town departments, or whoever. We also join committees. There's education committees, events committees, so we're asked to do that. And also, we're asked to attend the Human Rights Academy with the young students here in Mashpee, and young students from all over the Cape. They go for a day of, they do service projects, and they do a day of presentations. This year, I was fortunate to be the keynote speaker to the youth across Cape Cod, and they're quite impressive young people. They're the ones that started that We Are Mashpee picture, the immigrant project that's at Katuitt Center for the Arts right now.
I can't think of anyone better to represent the town of Mashpee in this position at the Barnstable County Human Rights Advisory Commission.
Thank you.
Anybody
I agree.
have any other?
A motion to approve Marie Younger Blackburn to the Barnstable County Human Rights Advisory Commission as the town liaison.
Second.
First
you.
and second, any other discussion? Not hearing any. Mr. Whedon?
Yes.
Carol?
Yes.
Just out of curiosity, I can. So, are you a resident of Mashpee?
Oh, yes.
You are just a resident. Are you, and you're Is the rest of the, do you have a board or a group that has signed a petition on your behalf or is supporting your?
So the Barnstable County Human Rights Advisory Commission is a part of town government in Barnstable.
Barnstable?
Yeah. So they have people that sit on the commission are the Cape Cod Commission, the police union. So there's representatives of that commission. And I guess they have liaisons in every town across Cape Cod except 4, and Mashpee was one of the 4.
Was there anybody else that was looking to participate as?
You know, I don't know. All I know is I got multiple calls asking me to, what I consider being the liaison. So I know they have someone from the Wampanoag tribe that also is part of the commission. That's one of their guidelines. I don't know. They called repeatedly, and I said
I was
yes.
just wondering if anybody knew. I was
Yeah.
just, I know
I
it's,
don't know. Dan, do you know?
I believe it's advertised through the county.
Yes.
Yes.
It's advertised
It's
through the
advertised
county.
to the county, and
Yeah.
there's a
Yes.
lot of these positions
Yes.
like this. I'm just,
Yeah.
I'm happy
So
to
I'm sure
actually
they do
have
things
representatives.
by the book, but I know I was called and asked.
yeah, and it's just, I'm just like, did anybody else know? That's what was my
Yeah.
question. I have no
Yeah.
problem with you.
Yeah.
But I didn't, this is the first,
That you heard of it, yeah.
really,
Yeah.
yes. And it's something that didn't come up too much, but if what you're telling me is correct, yes.
I'll
luck.
I'll recall the vote. Sorry, David?
Yes.
Carol?
Yes.
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 Okay, and I'm a yes.
Thank you.
Congratulations. Thank you
Thank
for
you.
stepping up again, Marie.
Oh, your public comment.
Public comment. First up, Mark Cohen. Queuing it up.
Mark Cohen, 71 Manitoba Road. I'm here to speak about Article 28 for the taking over the roads of South Cape Beach Estates. The videos you will be seeing right now will speak for themselves. Paving not just one road, but a whole neighborhood. Heavy oils and liquid asphalt will enter stormwater and run off into Great River. In my opinion, this will be Mashpee's own version of the Valdez oil slick. Paving not just one road, but the whole neighborhood. Ground zero at sea level, high tides flood catch basins here from ground up. Storm runoff carrying the heavy oils will contaminate the banks of the Great River and work its way up into the Boyle Bay along the beaches of the South Cape Kayak Launch and over to Washburn Island beaches. This will severely impact the environment. If this article is passed, it will be a sad day for the river and for the bay. thank you for your time for looking at that.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Next up, thank you, Harden. You're like, I'm next.
Hopefully the list didn't change since I looked at it.
No,
Hi,
you're right.
I'm Arden Russell. Good evening, 32 Sturgis Lane. Last Wednesday, this board and the Sewer Commission took a strong, brave action to continue our very expensive sewer implementation program, which is absolutely necessary in order to bring our waters back to good health. The CWMP includes other strategies that must be implemented in order to achieve our goals. One of those is adoption of a flow-neutral bylaw, and that is what I want to speak to tonight. Mashpee adopted Chapter 108 flow neutral in 2021. This bylaw is required by DEP in order for us to receive 0% interest financing, but it's also the prudent thing to do. I have serious concerns about how flow neutral is being enforced, or more accurately, not being enforced, and that's what I want to bring to your attention. Willow Bend's Cranberry Point proposal is currently under review by the Planning Board. The developer seeks to annex a parcel of land on Quiniquisette Avenue to their existing 1985 special permit so that they can build a 12-unit development on approximately 4 acres. This is adding up to 48 bedrooms. 48 bedrooms of additional nitrogen into Mashpee's already significantly impaired waters. The flow-neutral bylaw limits development to 1 bedroom per 10,000 square feet, regardless of whether that property is on municipal sewer, private sewer, or septic system. The development is locked in at these maximum bedroom allowances for every single parcel of land in Mashpee. In complete disregard for this bylaw and disregard for the maximum number of bedrooms on this permitted parcel, the developer is requesting, and the planning board is considering, permitting 48 bedrooms where only 16 are allowed. Do we support increasing this amount of development above which our sewer system and wastewater management plan is designed for? Are we already ignoring this important protection before the sewer plant even goes online? What will be the effects of this? Are we spending hundreds of millions of dollars for what will become an ineffective solution because we allow drastic increased development? Additionally, lack of enforcement of the flow-neutral bylaw puts our SRF funding in jeopardy. SRF loans require adoption and enforcement of a flow-neutral bylaw. If we are not meeting the terms of this agreement, it puts those funds and future loans in serious jeopardy. I'm asking you all to please speak up and to please attend the March 20th Planning Board meeting where this issue will be reviewed. Thank you.
Thank you, Arden. Next up, I think that's it for public comment. We have communications correspondence, new business, discussion and action, and possible approval of adding the following to the May 6, 2024 town meeting warrant. Okay. Is this, Mr. Collins, do you want to take this up, or do you want to just?
The one that I respectfully request that the Select Board consider adding, and it does say submitted by the treasurer, I believe, but it has to be added by you folks at this point.
Right.
Or otherwise, it can't go on the warrant, and that is to rescind the prior authorization. So there's no confusion at all in regards to any pending funding, because I don't want people to get confused regarding the May town meeting with what they had what they had voted for prior to.
So you're referring to the $7.5 million borrowing authorization for sewer engineering?
Yes.
Which we took out to borrow just in case.
Just in case. It was a safety net, and I believe it was previously explained to you folks that it was done for the sake of authorizing me to sign, but at this point, completely comfortable rescinding, and we do not need that authorization. So therefore, just to eliminate any confusion whatsoever, I would ask that the Select Board add it, and then obviously consider
Resending it.
approving it. And But
So-
it needs to be added to the warrant. Right now, it's
Okay.
not there.
Okay. I motion to add to the warrant an article to resend 7.5 million borrowing authorization for the sewer engineering.
Second.
And we're looking just to add it, and then we can make our recommendation afterwards.
Exactly.
Okay. All right, so I have a first and second to
Yes.
add it.
To add it.
Any discussion?
Yes.
Okay.
This is actually just a question with regard to putting an explanation with it, so it'll be crystal clear as we move forward.
Exactly.
Exactly.
And it will be placed, this is my question, would it be placed directly in front of what's now articles, or what were Articles 5 and 6? So it's clear to voters how the whole process is
Well
going.
said.
We're rescinding this, and
Exactly.
therefore we're asking for these two.
It's the same category.
Exactly.
Yes.
Keep it together for the,
I just think it adds clarity.
absolutely.
Okay.
Very
Thank
good
you.
point. So if we could make sure it comes prior to,
Yes.
yep.
Right, and with an explanation.
Do you-
And that
now-
way,
now,
even before people.
Do you want it, I'm sorry, do you want it prior to or after?
I think prior to.
I think you would put it prior to,
Prior.
Yeah,
otherwise. the
prior
que-
to, so it's like resetting, we asked for the money, but we actually gave it back to the town.
Just want to be clear. I mean, the
Yep.
warrant is your agenda.
Right.
It might change the numbering though, right?
Yes, it will
Yes.
change.
Yeah,
the-
we'll change the numbering.
But that's
The
okay.
the only question that I would bring to your attention is that if you put it prior to, and they approve that, but don't approve the next two articles, then you can't do anything.
Well, it doesn't matter, we can't do anything if,
Oh, yeah, no, what I'm saying is you need the other article. You understand what I'm
I
saying?
do.
but I don't,
We're going to need, we can't rescind this without passing the other two. Because
So-
the other two is where the additional $3 million are coming from WIF and wastewater stabilization.
So maybe-
I understand.
Maybe we should put it after.
but it's,
That- Okay.
Shut it down.
And perhaps a way to handle this
Good
would
point.
be to put someplace a sentence with both the wastewater stabilization request for the 1.4 and the WIF request for the 1.6, or vice versa. A sentence just saying that,
So that the amounts are
well-
explained, so people know what we're,
and they understand that they're going to then vote to rescind.
Right.
Just, I don't have the language, but I would like it to be tied together so that when people receive the warrant before they come to town meeting, it's clear to them.
We will get the explanation in detail and consult with
that's going to be
council.
important.
Yeah, I think
It's
so.
going to be important.
good point, Wayne.
Dollar
You know,
amount is what's going to be important.
it's all about the clarity and the writing of the explanation, because
So we
it's,
should put it after.
yeah, it'll be, so it has to be afterwards. But you're right, it has to, we have to be clear,
We need to link them.
that explanation, it's all about the explanations in all these articles.
Is there a way to itemize them, like, where they're contingent on each other? Like a, 1A, B, and C scenario? I don't know what that looks like, but I mean, to where they're contingent on, the approvals affect the next.
Well, they'd have to be separate articles.
If,
No,
They
I
have-
get that.
we could put it in the
I
explanation,
think what we can do is get into the details on the explanation, bring the numeric order that we think you're seeking, and then you still have the next meeting before you execute,
Okay.
so you can get a final look at things.
And then we can
If-
look at the wording.
with,
And you'll have an opportunity to take a look at
With
the
this-
order and the wording.
if this is after the main article, then in the main article, it can be said that the preceding article will be removed if this passes. It's all about the explanation. It's,
I just want to make sure that legal counsel takes a look at the explanation, but we'll get it down.
okay. All right, so did we take a?
We have a first,
No,
a
we-
second,
first
and
and
discussion.
All right, Michaela,
Yes.
Tom,
Yes.
Carol,
Yes.
David,
Yes.
and I'm a yes. So now it's back on.
Actually, it was
So-
never on.
It was
this
never
is-
on,
Well,
but
yeah,
now
now
it's
it's
on.
on.
Now it's on.
So would we wait till the next meeting to have it draft, or do we already have the draft
No, we don't.
with the changes?
Yeah, we have to make some changes.
All right, so I think,
We can approve and recommend when we get,
Yes.
okay,
I think simplicity would be wonderful at this stage of the game.
right.
Spell it out, break it down, so that the average person understands completely before they make a decision.
so do you want to go back up to article to change the purpose of FY 2024 capital bond for DPW masonry wall restoration and the police station design and engineering? So that's on page 2, if you will.
Do you want a first and second before explanations, or?
What's that?
I said, I have questions, but I didn't know if you wanted a first and second first.
I guess we can discuss first if we have, just to discuss the article itself.
Mostly, I have a question, and this too, and I understand it's probably an issue of time, but there's not an explanation. And if somebody asked me about this, I would have no way of explaining to them what it is and why I voted for it or against it. So,
But have to read the explanation.
Right,
When we
and
get
there isn't one, and that's the killer.
Right. So you want a motion
All right,
to
so-
place it on the
So,
warrant?
yeah,
that
why
true
don't
with
we,
all of
why don't we
these?
consider,
I'm
Putting
fine
these
with that.
on-
if
warrant.
we're good with, we're good with each one, we'll go through each one. And if we're good with it, we'll place it on, as an article.
Okay.
And then we can, at the next meeting, we'll have explanation, and we can,
A motion
good.
to put an article on the warrant to change the purpose of FY 2024 capital bond for DPW masonry wall restoration and the police station design and engineering.
all right, that's a
Se-
motion
second.
and a second. Any discussion? Not hearing any? Oh, good.
One, is there justification for, putting them together if they're separate projects?
They'll be
They
separate.
will be separate.
Yeah, separate articles.
No, this is one.
This is, no, because of the amount of money. We had the money in capital already, so this is just repurposing the money that was in the capital.
It's another article they'll have to explain because we're repurposing.
So this was initially for
Budgeted.
the HVAC system.
Right.
And I don't know if the DPW,
Yeah, she's
she's
here.
here. I think maybe she could probably
But the,
elaborate if,
I mean, it was already
Yep.
purposed for something else, and it's exactly what it's saying.
And once they
We are
found out
going to
there
get
was
the
more.
explanation.
yes.
So
And-
this is,
and
this
would
is just a
be
repurpose of funds.
It would be a repurpose of funds, yes.
So it's just to add it to the
Are
warrant.
you good with that, David? All we're doing is, we're going to add it to the warrant, and
We're
we're
not
going to
gonna
have a
approve
better
it.
explanation
Right.
at the next meeting, so we can go through and we can even further discuss if we're not comfortable with the explanation.
I agree. I mean, we have to simplify it as best we can for all
Yes.
residents so that we know exactly what they're dealing with.
Exactly.
Okay, so to reiterate, we're simply adding
Adding
these
it.
now. We're not approving these.
Correct.
Or
We're just
recommending.
So
adding
we-
them,
they can
and
add
then next week.
Description. Yep.
Yep.
They're going to add an explanation to every one
And
of
then,
these.
and we
that
can discuss next week whether we
Correct.
want to approve the article or don't want to approve the article.
Right.
Thank you. Got it.
So we're not designing a new police station.
Well, that's what
That's what we will be doing.
they're talking
You're
about.
not doing that tonight.
No. So I made the motion,
Second.
and she seconded.
All right, so we go with, I'll start with discussion. Okay. Michaela,
Yes.
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 David,
Yes.
okay, and I'm a yes.
And then let's add to the warrant an article to extend authorization for Mashpee Middle's High School parking lot.
Second.
All right, any discussion? And again, this is just to add it back,
Adding
and we'll
it.
add discussion, description later. All right, Kayla,
Yes.
Tom,
Yes.
Carol?
Yes.
And David,
Yes.
and I'm a yes.
Adding an article to repurpose Department of Natural Resources capital building funds.
Second.
Okay, first and second, any discussion? Not hearing any? David?
Yes.
Yes.
Carol?
Yes.
Tom? Kayla?
Yes.
And I'm a yes.
Adding an article to the warrant for SRF loan organization fees.
Second. I'm not saying SRF, that's,
Which,
I see.
SRF,
Got
the
it.
town will appropriate
Second.
transfer?
no, adding an article for.
Oh,
for
okay, you're reading the title.
fees.
I'm
Yeah.
reading the articles themselves. Okay. So at first, second, David,
Yes.
Carol?
Yes.
Yes.
Tom?
Yes.
And I'm a yes. And we already did 7.5. So
Adding an article for private to public road conversion, Christopher Lane.
Second.
Okay, first and second, any discussion? Not hearing any? Kayla?
Yes.
Yes.
Yes,
Carol?
yes.
And David?
Yes.
And I'm a yes. All right, so they are now going to
Added.
be worked on and added and
We'll
in
get
need of explanation. I think that's it for them, right?
Now, we need to,
Discussion and action,
approval of draft
approval
two.
of draft number 2 for the May 6,
So
2024
we have-
special and annual town meeting warrant
Article
articles.
1.
7,500,000. Balance.
Article 1.
John, there is a memo in there to go
Yes.
through that tells you the articles that we
That's the
have not.
breakdown, right?
Yes.
Do we have an amount yet?
Do we have this
I don't have that.
Or no?
snow and ice?
Snow and ice, we will have the next, but we do not believe we'll be having to add any dollar figure. It looks like they've held the budget this year because of the lack of weather.
You didn't just jinx us, right?
I know.
I hope
that's-
I think you
You had to say it.
did. No.
Probably have a nor'easter
I
this
didn't
weekend.
say it, you said it, just for the record. Make sure the enterprise gets that correctly.
We've got one more week, hopefully.
So should we hold off?
Yeah, we'll have to.
Yeah,
because
we
don't
have to, just, all right, so got a hold on that. Then it's Article, what, 6, right?
It's on page 2.
Page 2.
See if the town will vote to appropriate and transfer the sum of $1,600,000 from the wastewater infrastructure investment fund, WIF, and the sum of $500,000 from revenue available for appropriation to the temporary borrowing outside 2.5, or take any other action related thereto.
Okay, so we'd be looking for a motion to
To
approve and recommend. Do I have a motion to approve and
Yes,
recommend?
I just,
That's Carol. So do I have a second?
Yes, second.
All right, first and second. Any discussion? Not hearing any. David?
Yes.
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 And I'm a yes.
Page 4.
And Article 9, page 4.
To see if the town will vote and appropriate and transfer the sum of $550,000 from the Community Preservation Fund, 10% open space recreation reserve in accordance with the provisions of Mass General Law, Chapter 44B, subsection 5, for the purpose of funding the Ashumet Pond Restoration Rehabilitation Project, including necessary costs and expenses related thereto as recommended by the CPC Committee, and to apply for and accept and expend any reimbursement funds which are anticipated from the Joint Base Cape Cod through an environmental services agreement to defray the cost. All reimbursement funds would return to the coffers of the Community Preservation Committee, and further to authorize the Select Board or Community Preservation Committee to enter into all agreements and execute all instruments on behalf of the town and may be necessary to effect this project and obtain reimbursement funding in the best interests of the town or take any other action related thereto. I make a motion to recommend and support.
Second.
You know what I meant.
I missed all that. Can you read that again? Yeah. Sorry, I had to say it. Any discussion? Not hearing any? David?
Yes.
Carol?
Yes.
Tom?
Yes.
Michaela?
Yes.
And I'm a yes.
Page 5.
Sorry to be a wise guy.
Article 10.
Article 10, yeah, and we'll pass the reading of that one.
Okay.
Does anybody have any questions on it? If not,
This is CPC Pickle Cove.
Yep.
Article.
Let me just, I've got something sent to me today, and I believe we have to look into this. The CPC has not come to a final figure on this amount yet.
okay.
They want to try to allow it to go to town meeting, I believe, from what I can understand, because we only have next week, to be with an amount to be determined. I'm not sure that can be done, so we have to check with Pat, just to be sure.
Okay,
So I would
so
hold off on
We'll
this
hold,
one. till-
going to hold on Article 10.
I have a question. Is it an amount to be determined, or did they want to put it through as amount not to exceed?
No, they said amount to be.
Thank you.
Determined.
So jump over to we're going to hold on that one. Annual town meeting warrant, Article 2, page 7 through 12.
To see if the town will vote to affix salaries of the following elected officers as provided in Chapter 41, Section 108 of the Massachusetts General Laws for the period of July 1, 2024 to June 30th, 2025, and further to see if the town will vote to appropriate, raise, and/or transfer a sum of money to defray the town's expenses for ensuring fiscal year according to the following line item budget, with the maximum amount to be appropriated as shown in the column entitled FY25 Department Request, or see omnibus budget, or take any other action related thereto.
And Mr. Collins, you're good with
Yes.
all your numbers are
Yes.
last and final?
Any changes?
Well, there were changes. I met with the school, and we reached a compromise that we could live with and they could live with. And there were a couple of other minor adjustments along the way, but this is a balanced budget without getting into any override, which I wanted to avoid going into May.
Perfect. Can I have a motion to?
And it satisfies all of our contractual needs, and all of the COLAs that were scheduled, and it covers our mission-critical needs as far as expenses are concerned.
A motion to recommend and approve Article 2.
Second.
Do I have a first and second? Any further discussion? Not hearing any. Michaela?
Yes.
Tom?
Yes.
Bless you.
Carol?
Yes.
David?
Yes.
And I'm a yes. CIP, Article 3, pages 13 and 14.
To see
And
if,
that did change.
this one did?
Well, I think the chair can explain.
Okay. To
As
see
written.
if the town will vote to appropriate and transfer the sum of $4,270,634 from available funds to various department capital accounts as specified in the chart accompanying this article, or take any other action related thereto.
So this includes the film on the
Oh, the
school
window.
windows.
Safety for schools.
And then in addition, what supplemented the cost was the
Repeaters.
repeater system, or what I refer to as a repeater for enhancing radio communication with public safety for the purposes of those particular buildings.
I see it's in.
And that's what the addition was. You sat there.
Yep. So if anybody has any questions about it, I mean, a lot of it was, that was the final changes were about safety, and
Yep.
basically it's about
I
safety in the
believe it
schools.
was unanimous.
Oh, yeah, it was unanimous.
A motion to recommend and approve. Article 3.
All right, I have a first. Do I have a second?
I'll give you a second.
And Tom has a second. Any discussion? Not hearing any? David?
Yes.
Yes.
Carol? Tom?
Yes?
Kayla?
Yes.
And I'm a yes.
Okay, Article 4, I don't need to read, but I think we all agree to approve and recommend and approve.
Yep. That's,
And let the voters decide.
What it comes down to.
yep, I mean, it's all self-explanatory.
Yes, it is.
Can we, I'm good with it, but I'd like to see if maybe we can help with the explanation. I don't know how much,
Well, the explanation says the article would provide funding to implement and construct Phase 2 of the town's comprehensive wastewater management treatment and disposal improvement plan, including expansion of the water resource recovery facility located adjoining to the town's solid waste transfer station and related to Phase 2 sewer collection system, improvements to be connected to the wastewater treatment facility. This project is one of the initial essential steps implementing the town's watershed nitrogen management plan. I think it says everything.
I think it does to us. I don't know if it says everything to the public. I personally would like to see something about this completes or utilizes the treatment center to its capacity that we already, and I'm not sure exactly how to play on words, if you will, but we have a wastewater treatment facility that we paid for in Phase 1 that is utilizing 20% capacity presently with Phase 1. This would bring the treatment center to its full capacity, which is 80% utilization. So something about, we're adding the pipes to utilize a treatment center that we already paid for.
Maybe we can do that through the paper, and the finance committee can do it in their blue book. Because I think you're going to confuse people.
I know, and I
Too much
get it,
wording.
I just,
Too much wording.
I know. And it is true, the more words you add, the
It's gonna
less
be
people
confusing.
actually read. And maybe maybe that's given on a explanation basis as people coming in, maybe on like a card with a better explanation of what this article means.
Maybe get
I just
copies of the map and hand them out.
interested in everyone else, the
Right,
board's thoughts. I just,
My thoughts on this, the average person can't even look at this and understand where all these dollars are going and how they're gonna pay for it. I think what we need to do is break it down to what it's gonna cost them out of their pockets. How are they gonna survive? How are they gonna pay the bill? Is it necessary with the wastewater? Absolutely it is. Roadways, safety, education, all those are important.
But we need to know, they need to know the cost. So can we have our finance team come in and start
Well,
breaking it down?
I don't think that's a fair assessment, because I don't know what is happening in terms of betterments. You can't ask us
Oh,
to
okay.
bring in
No.
Yeah.
No,
a
we don't.
formula
Okay.
when I don't know what it is that you're seeking. I mean,
The only other thing is we're asking them to approve 96 $1 million and they don't know what it's going to cost them.
Well, yeah, but I think,
I think
to that point, I don't think we could, I don't know if you can put that in here, but to know your, I know what you're saying, though. I mean, obviously, before we go to town meeting, we need to know what it's gonna cost the median price house according to, but they also have to know that there's other things at our disposal, but
May I suggest, Mr. Chair, what happened the last time we did this is that one of the selectmen spoke to exactly what this meant.
Right.
And maybe before you vote on it, one of you folks could
Get up and,
do an explanation.
like Andrew did.
that, yep,
Yeah.
okay.
You know, and what happens if wastewater, the growth, the expansion of the wastewater system, what's that gonna cost them if it's approved? What is that actually going to add to their tax bill? I don't know that they understand it. I think a lot of people are fully unaware of what's going on and the cost of what's going to happen. And it's necessary. We all know it's necessary. Just running the cost of government just goes up in leaps and bounds.
But if they don't know that we're doing wastewater, then
Right,
they're
well,
living
they
under
know.
a rock.
They know we're doing it. They don't know what it's going to cost them.
Yeah.
Right.
I have,
To that
Mr.
point,
McGrew.
I think that's
And
well said, Wayne, and
And I think it's,
Everybody's
I
for
think,
it.
you know,
No one's
getting
against
up
it.
right
But
before the
nobody-
article.
I don't know that they can all afford it.
Well,
one,
can't afford not to either.
one word that might be added to get to what you're saying that wouldn't make this complicated is in the next to last sentence, where it says Phase 2 sewer collection system improvements to be connected to the existing wastewater treatment
there you go,
facility.
existing.
And then you're not getting into a lot of extra words, but we're saying we're using the system
agree.
that's there.
Existing.
I like that, because I mean, I want to stay away from the capacity issue, because I don't think Phase 2 reaches full capacity.
No,
So
it
you-
reaches
you're,
80.
you're overextending yourself in
Exactly.
But this shows
in
that
that
there's.
language. But
And too
you're
much
still
work.
leaving 20%, I mean, so it's not.
You can't, according to the engineering, 80% is full capacity. I know, you're right.
Confusing it.
I know.
By putting in capacity.
You're-
I like
I get-
Michaela's language.
Existing was perfect.
And it
Existing.
it gets to what you were
It ties it
asking
in.
for.
That's,
Yep.
Yeah.
and I think the explanation right before this article, if I read a well-prepared statement, which I will get a lot of people's opinion on what should be said
Right.
and stated.
So I made the motion to recommend and approve.
Okay, I have it first,
With edits?
With
With
the
that-
edit, yes.
with the edit of existing.
Existing.
Adding existing.
Yeah. Second.
So first and second, any discussion? Not hearing any,
I have a quick
Sure.
question. So the way the article's worded, is that determined by legal counsel?
By legal counsel and bond counsel.
Thank you. That answers my question, thanks.
all right,
Yes.
start us off. Tom?
Yes.
Carol?
Yes.
David?
Yes.
And I'm a yes.
Okay, next is page
Chapter 90 funding.
19, Article 14, to see if the town will vote to raise, borrow, transfer from available funds and appropriate the sum of, Chapter 90.
Unless it came today. No, we have not received
So
it.
the whole, okay.
Probably have to hold it.
Article 21, page 22.
To see if the town will vote and authorize the select board to grant to Eversource Energy its respective successors assigned to a non-exclusive easement conveying to the right locate, oh, David, you had a question on this, didn't you? Construct, install, operate, maintain, patrol, inspect, repair, replace, alter, change the location of extended or removed primary wires, transformers, poles, together with service conductors and other necessary equipment and apparatus along, upon, under, cross, over certain parcels of the land situated at 380 Ashes Path, Mashpee, to further described on the shown on Mashpee's assessor's map, 61 is Lot 3, land recorded at the Barnstable County of Deeds, Plan Book, oh, this is for the sewer. Okay,
Right.
so I make a motion to recommend and approve.
Second.
First and second. Any discussion?
I thought Ronit Goldstein was going to provide additional language to it.
There's nothing to add to it. What you have signed off for previous is the exact same wording. So if we don't approve this at town meeting, the language is still there. There's nothing that would change through Ronit as far as this. This is a license and a town meeting article that was written up and approved by town council and Eversource. So.
Okay.
Michaela?
Yes.
Tom?
Yes.
Carol?
Yes.
David?
Yes.
And I'm a yes.
Page 24, 25, Article 25. To see if the town will vote to appropriate and transfer the sum of $150,000 from the Waterways Equipment Fund to the engineer permitting dredging and associated expense account, or take any other action related thereto.
Sounds like an easy
A
one.
motion to recommend and approve.
All right, do I have a second?
Yes, second.
First and second. I'm guessing no discussion.
I'm good.
You good?
Yes.
Tom?
Yes.
Yes.
Carol? And David?
Yes.
And I'm a yes. All right, so that's it. So we have what, 1, 2, 3 holds? Article 1, Article 10, Article 14, if I'm correct? Good? All right. Thank you. Okay, additional topics, liaison reports. Okay.
The Chamber's annual meeting and dinner and awards is the 27th, Wednesday, the 27th, from 5:30 to 7:30.
All right. No others. Water quality updates? I think we just talked about a lot of water quality
Just
updates.
the wastewater, right?
Town manager updates.
I did have one committee liaison report. The EOC held a meeting tonight and regarding the housing production plan and had some comments that I think they submitted, that they were looking for, I guess, some additional language added that reflects kind of needing equitable housing. The primary goal of the plan is to build low-income housing to meet the 40B requirement, the 10% 40B requirement. But then the plan speaks to, a lot more than just that. And so we want to make sure that there's language that kind of encourages equitable housing in a balanced way and strengthen that. I guess one of the other things was looking for language to kind of elevate the environment as a priority and doing it in a balanced way where you do both. It's not impacting the environment as we build. With some of the kind of high level, I defer to the approved comments that were submitted prior to 5 o'clock today. They were unanimously approved by those present at the EOC meeting earlier today for consideration and implementation.
Okay.
Mr. John?
Yep.
I also, to come back to water quality updates, I have a question with regard to the Mashpee Wakeby Pond study. I think the last I read, we had Ed Eichner coming back in April to explain the results. Do we have a firm date? Do you know? Do we know when Ed is coming to do the results of the pond study?
I haven't heard anything, but I will check with DNR. She's on vacation this week, so I'll check with her next week.
Thank you very much.
That might be, because Mashpee Wakeby before the town meeting.
I know when he was here, I jotted down that he would be here sometime in April, but it wasn't, the date wasn't determined.
Okay.
It wasn't confirmed. So I just wanted to make sure that we were moving forward with that and thinking about water quality.
Okay.
Thanks.
And since we're going back to liaison reports, Joint Base Commission, last week, or was it the week before? There was a discussion by the state to take over, or to actually hand over basically 200 acres to the town of Bourne. I know it's mostly going to be dealt with by the town of Bourne, but their timeline of launching an RFP for some type of housing project on those 200 acres was actually 2024. I found, if you think timeline of getting a project for HVAC done in 2 years was fast, that's a timeline that my head almost spun around. So they somehow are planning to launch an RFP for housing on land that's owned presently by the state, but is going to be potentially given to the town of Bourne, and that's all going to happen in the next 8 months.
Wow.
And RFPs are going to be launched. So,
And this is for affordable housing?
well, yeah, and that was, my biggest question was, is it going to be for affordable housing, veterans housing, workforce housing, and is that what that was the destination or the purpose of the housing? There was no response. So I hope that because of that immediate timeframe, that, 200 acres, and when we all need affordable housing, workforce housing, and everything in this community, that it's not going to be just to house migrants. With no concern for veteran housing, affordable housing, or workforce housing. So,
Well,
that's a concern.
I think when we're looking at affordable housing, a lot of affordable housing, if we're looking at 80% or below of AMI, we're looking at workforce housing at the same time. So a lot of our affordable housing does become workforce housing.
Oh, yeah, oh,
Yeah,
absolutely. And
yeah.
I'm putting them all in the
Yep.
bucket, but like I said, and first and foremost, it's on military, which always military land, and, hopefully some veteran housing should be, earmarked in there, but
Considered.
because it's state land, they couldn't give any assurities that it will.
This isn't the
be-
first time we've heard this.
No, well, I've never seen a project have a timeline of 9 months to having 200 acres given to a town and then an RFP launched. Can we get a project? The Leclerc Housing Project was, 38 units? That was only 7 years, right?
Only.
And that was town land. I'm just saying. All right, any other liaison reports?
Thank you.
Town manager updates? You're good? Executive session. Discussion and disposition of the value of real property of 0 Meeting House Road, 0 Falmouth Road, 35 Lake Avenue, 409 Main Street, 415 Main Street, Mashpee, pursuant of general law, Chapter 30A, Section 21A6.
Okay, the
Carol,
motion
please.
is, I move that the board convene an executive session pursuant to the general law, section, Chapter 30A, subsection 21A, 6, to consider the disposition of value of real property located at Meeting House Road, Falmouth Road, 35 Lake Ave, 409 Main Street, and 415 Main Street, Mashpee, to the Mashpee Wampanoag tribe, and to the chair having declared that an open meeting regarding this topic may have a detrimental effect on the negotiation position of the town. The select board will not reconvene in open session.
Second.
For discussion purposes, Mr. Chair, I asked to be excused. I recuse myself from this portion. of the executive session.
Absolutely.
Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Have a good night.
You too.
Did you?
Oh.
Need a vote to go into executive
You need to vote. That was a
Yeah.
second?
Yes.
Yes.
Tom?
Yes.
Yes.